Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from MyProgression, and today we're going to talk about the 6 stages of a crisis. Let's start with what do we mean by crisis. Crisis is when the child or young person has essentially lost control, and this could lead to an unstable or dangerous situation. It's important that you not only support the young person through a crisis, but that you can recognise the signs that led up to it, so you can prevent it from happening in the future. This video will take you through what each stage is, how to identify warning signs, and how to react to each stage. If you've ever had to deal with a child at the peak of a crisis, you'll know how upsetting that can be. The main thing to do, no matter what stage they're at or what's happening, you must remain calm. If you panic, you won't be able to think clearly and you'll communicate a lack of control to the child. The following stages will apply to children and young people of differing communication levels and abilities. The way you communicate and recognise the signs will differ from child to child, and it's important that you understand the needs of each child before intervening. When dealing with children or young people, it's vital that you put your ego aside and focus on their best interests. Accept that sometimes you might not be the best person to help. Stage 1, anxiety. This is the first stage where something has triggered anxiety in a child. This could be anything. It may have happened at home before they even got to you. It could be that they didn't have their favourite cereal that morning, or they've had an argument with one of their friends, or there's too much noise in the room and they're feeling overwhelmed. How do you spot signs of anxiety? They may be hiding their face or withdrawing. They may become red in the face, maybe rock back and forth or tapping. They might refuse to speak or look at you. At this point, the best thing for you to do is distract them, divert their attention, and encourage them to do an activity you know they enjoy. You must display calm and relaxed body language at all times. You do not want to be the reason that this escalates. Sometimes all you need to do is just remove them from the space and give them some quiet time. Don't try to talk to them about what's wrong at this stage. Later on, when you can see that they're relaxed and they're engaging with a new task, you can ask them what happened that morning. We'll talk more about how to follow up later in this video. Stage 2, defensive. This is where the behaviour is escalating and likely to become disruptive. What behaviour might we see here? They could be abusive and using offensive language. Aggressive posture or stance, low-level destruction like scratching into a table. They may become quite challenging in their language like "no I won't" or "go away." You still want to divert the behaviour, but at this point you need to be more instructional in your language. Be concise and set very clear boundaries like, "James, we're going to go to the quiet room for 10 minutes now." Or, "If you come with me now, you'll be able to have your full break time." Avoid using threats. Use positive outcomes. If they're refusing to move, remove the audience. It will help to keep them calm, and if they're going to escalate further, you'll keep the other children safe. Stage 3, crisis. When a child or young person enters crisis, you're likely to see shouting and screaming, crying, spitting, biting, lashing out with fists or legs, damaging property, or hurting others. At this point, you're likely to need to use physical intervention. There are 3 questions to ask yourself before using physical intervention. Is it reasonable? Is it necessary? And is it proportionate? If you're working on supply, then it probably shouldn't be you, unless you are specifically trained and instructed to intervene. But you have a duty of care to protect children from harm. And if a child is about to harm themselves or someone else, you must act. The key to this is remaining calm, as hard as that might be to do. Think before you act. What's the best way to keep these children safe? It may be to physically intervene, or it may be to get a senior member of staff, or remove any children or objects from harm's way. I'm not going to demonstrate any safe intervention techniques in this video, as that would be irresponsible. You need to train on an accredited course. If you would like to learn more about de-escalation strategies, then contact us on the detail in the description below. And we could be able to set you up with a free professional qualification. And whilst you're there, like and subscribe to keep seeing more from MyProgression. Stage 4, recovery. Stage 4 is all about providing support and reassurance. You may need to do this from a safe distance, and it may need to be a coordinated approach with another staff member. What behaviour might you observe? They may curl up into a ball, maybe hide under a blanket, and they sometimes may even fall asleep. You need to be careful at this stage, as they could easily revert straight back to crisis without the warning of stage 2. Think of boiling a kettle. It takes 2 to 3 minutes for a kettle to boil, depending on how full it is, right? If you walk away from the kettle and come back 5 minutes later, flick the switch again, how long would it take to boil? 5 seconds. And that's how you should view this situation. They're still so close to crisis. It won't take much to flick that switch. So give them space, but always monitor them. Stage 5, depression. After crisis, the child or young person may feel depressed about their actions and behaviours. They could become very quiet and teary. They may have lashed out and hurt their favourite person in the school, or they may have destroyed their favourite toy, so they're feeling very regretful. At this stage, you need to continue to support and monitor. Look for any signs that they might want to talk, but don't attempt to resolve any conflict at this time, as they may become more upset. Stage 6, resolution. This final stage may occur an hour after crisis, or it might not be until the next day, but it's crucial that you do this. This stage is about talking to the child, if they're verbal, and helping them understand their feelings. You want to talk through what caused the anxiety, what escalated the anxiety, how are they feeling now, what can they do to put things right, and how can they do things differently next time. This must come from a place of non-judgment, and your job now is to help them avoid this from happening in the future. Anytime you physically intervene, you must document it with a school or setting. Share the report and notes with the appropriate people. If a child is non-verbal, you'll need to think back to the events that led up to the crisis and speak to everyone involved to figure out what triggered this behaviour. Dealing with a child or young person in crisis is not easy, and you may need to take some time to decompress afterwards. You need to look after your own well-being as well as the children you work with. I hope this video has provided you with some useful information to help you feel more confident when dealing with a challenging situation. I've been Natalie from MyProgression, and if you found this video on the 6 stages of a crisis helpful, please like and subscribe to see more of our videos on working education. And let's keep your career in motion.